This has by far been the craziest NBA offseason that I think I, along with Jason Rubin and many others, can ever really remember. Alex Kennedy had an unbelievable tweet, and I need to find it, but it talks about all the stars that have been moved from one team to another. Here's what it is. Chris Paul, Paul George, Jimmy Butler, Kyrie Irving, Isaiah Thomas, #1 pick, Dwight Howard, Brook Lopez, possible 2018 #1 pick, and etc. were dealt this summer. We're hopefully going to have Alex Kennedy on. He is phenomenal on Twitter. Previously with Basketball Insiders, currently with Hoops Hype. I guess you could say we're in discussions as well. So Jason Rubin did the clip yesterday, and I wanted to just follow up on it today, of the Kyrie Irving deal that occurred between the Cleveland Cavaliers and the Boston Celtics. So Kyrie at 24 going on 25, Isaiah Thomas at 28 years old, were traded one for the other, and it's weird how many people are crapping on both point guards respectively, because the one truth with both of them is that they are fantastic, fabulous, unique offensive players, yet they are not sound defensively. Kyrie Irving, however, at 24 years old, again going on 25, is under team control for 2 years. Isaiah Thomas, a free agent to be for the one season that he will be in Cleveland. Nonetheless, Boston gets Kyrie. They have to give up the Brooklyn Nets' 2018 unprotected round 1 pick. Now, I've said this previously. Jay, I know many of you know him as Jason Rubin, has said this previously, that the Brooklyn Nets, are they going to make the playoffs? Are they a sleeper? No, this is where we disagree. Jeremy Lin is going to be 29 years old, maybe 30 years old. He's their most veteran-savvy player. Outside of that, you have Alan Crabb and D'Angelo Russell. That pick is going to be in the top 2, if not top 3. So the Cleveland Cavaliers have set them up, and Kobe Altman, who was anointed GM once they let go of David Griffin, had this search going on and then hired him. They get that 2018 unprotected round 1 pick, which is just huge because you're setting yourself up to potentially lose LeBron James and Isaiah Thomas in free agency, but you keep Jae Crowder, who is on a fantastic deal in this era of basketball, where he's getting paid for the next 3 years in the $5, in the $6, and in the $7 million range for a guy who has shown that he can develop his three-point shot and also defend. But you're getting that pick in case Isaiah Thomas and LeBron James walk, so you can solidify yourself with getting a star potential for many, many years to come and building your team around somebody. So that was big. They get Ante Zizic, who you need to YouTube some of his dunks because they're pretty fucking awesome. But outside of that, he's an unproven player at 20 years old. However, this is interesting, and this is via SB Nation. Described as, quote, a member of the golden generation of 1997 to born Croatian prospects, which includes the likes of Dragan Bender, Ivica Zubac, and Nick Slavica. This is a guy that Fran Fraschilla has gone on the record many times saying that he thinks that he's going to be a very good player in the NBA. But again, we just don't know. There's so much uncertainty to this. Who won the deal, who didn't win the deal. I'm going to show you what both teams look like momentarily. Defensively, here's where this might weigh into your decision. Isaiah Thomas, for the plus-minus sabermetric, a lot of people may not be a fan of, but he ranks 64th in ESPN's point guard rankings. Not for all players, point guard rankings. He is 64th. Kyrie, and this is via NBA.com, the Cavs allowing 3.1 more points per 100 possessions when he was on the floor per NBA.com. Opponents also shot just under 42% from three-point territory when matched up against Kyrie. This is interesting via Hoops Hype if many of you were questioning, why didn't they throw in this player, that player? Here's why. The Celtics are not able to trade recently signed free agents Gordon Hayward, Marcus Morris, and a few others as they are on new deals. Danny Ainge's quote, Kyrie is one of the best scorers in the NBA. He has proven that on the biggest stage, the NBA Finals. The last 3 years, he's proven that in the NBA Finals the last three years. He's been an NBA champion, an Olympic gold medalist, and a 4-time All-Star. For all he's accomplished, we think his best years are ahead of him. This is also interesting via Twitter. Kyrie Irving recruited Gordon Hayward in the summer of 2014 to have him come join him in Cleveland. Now in the summer of 2017, he joins Gordon Hayward in Boston. On the other side, Cleveland, Kevin Love, Isaiah Thomas, as you're seeing right here, are reunited once again. They played AAU basketball together. And here's the last thing that I want to give my take on this. The odds to win MVP before and after. Kyrie before, 50-1, after 25-1 if you're a betting man. Isaiah Thomas before, 30-1, after 100-1. That is via Westgate Vegas and ESPN Stats and Info. So I want to do this in another clip, but I'll just give you a preview right now. The Boston Celtics starting five before this trade occurred, and before you could even say this entire offseason occurred. Isaiah Thomas, Avery Bradley, Marcus Smart, Jae Crowder, Al Horford. Danny Ainge has made an incredible improvement this offseason and with this deal. Now, I know that many of you are saying, well, Cleveland didn't get anything. They did, and they're solidifying themselves to potentially make another trade. I'll tell you about that later on. Boston, after this offseason, I know it's still going on in the trade thus far. Kyrie Irving, you could start Marcus Smart, most likely, or Jason Tatum. Gordon Hayward, Marcus Morris, and Al Horford. It's looking pretty good to me, man. I know they lost Kelly Olynyk, who was a star in that Washington series. He's gone. But now what they are doing is trying to put themselves in a position to match up with and also beat out the Cleveland Cavaliers, which many are saying is potentially going to happen. The Cleveland starting five. Last year, prior to this offseason, Kyrie Irving, it was J.R. Smith or Ramon Shumpert, LeBron James, Kevin Love, and Tristan Thompson. Now they go Isaiah Thomas, J.R. Smith, or Ramon Shumpert, or you could put Jae Crowder in there. LeBron James, Kevin Love, and Tristan Thompson. Or if you want to go small, you could do Isaiah Thomas, J.R. Smith, or Ramon Shumpert, Jae Crowder, LeBron James, and Kevin Love. Now, again, I want to try and give you both sides, so I'm going to do that in respective clips, but here's just a quick preview. Boston won the trade because they did not give up Jason Tatum or Jaylen Brown, who really look like they're going to be Jason Tatum, a budding star, Jaylen Brown, a nice player, a nice role player if he develops his corner threes a little bit more, because as we know, this is a drive and kick league. If you can't hit an open three, you're not going to make it in this league unless you are out there for defensive purposes, and Jaylen Brown is still a project rather, and of course so is Jason Tatum. But in my opinion, what Cleveland needed to get, even though they get the 2018 Brooklyn round one, which again I believe is going to be a top 2 or top 3 pick, depending on how the ping pong balls fall. Not getting Jaylen Brown or Jason Tatum was a huge loss. I know they got Jae Crowder, which again is a really Zoetta reference. Ridiculously good deal for the landscape that we have in 2017. And getting Isaiah Thomas, who is pretty much the same player as Kyrie Irving, although he is arguably the worst defender in the National Basketball Association. Every time we doubted him for being the player that he has always proven us wrong. However, defensively, playoffs, late game situations, slow down pace of play, he's going to get eaten alive. And every time that Brad Stevens, it seemed like, had a good defensive possession, it would always turn to, well, they got to make up for the deficiency that Isaiah Thomas is. Phenomenal player. I'm not taking anything against him. He's still 5'9". And again, it's not the size of the dog in the fight, it's the size of the fight in the dog. Kyrie Irving is 6'1". A lot of these point guards are taller than 6'1". So what's going to happen in a slowed down pace of play game in the playoffs? They're going to isolate Isaiah Thomas, and he's going to get taken to the rack. And then if one guy tries to flood the lane and double up on Isaiah's guy, you rotate the ball around, or just a simple kick out, and there are open threes galore against what was when he was with the Boston Celtics and is now with the Cleveland Cavaliers. Ante Zizic, a prospect. You just don't really know, but again, Fran Fraschilla really liked him. That is the quick recap of the trade that went through. Shocking deal with the Boston Celtics and Cleveland Cavaliers. Nonetheless, I'm going to get into how Boston won the trade in a longer form, how Cleveland won the trade in a longer form, and what this means for LeBron James going forward. So I'll wrap it up at that. Let me know all of your thoughts. Send them in the comments section below where we can keep the dialogue going. Give this video a thumbs up. Follow me on Twitter at Rick Strom, and of course, subscribe to TYT Sports for all the hard work that we are doing, myself and Jason Rubin, really spearheading a new movement that will be this channel in the coming weeks / month. Stick with us. We have a ton of great content coming for you. So please hit that subscribe button.